Our next guest is one of our favorite guests. I just love having this guy on. Co-author of Google Hacks, a great resource for anybody wanting to get different and better results from the search engine known as Google. Today, a few hacks to give you an idea of what you can do, but there's literally dozens and dozens in here. Rael Dornfest, welcome. It's good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
On the show.
Good to be back.
Hacks. Now, let's get this flattened right now, because O'Reilly's going to do a whole hack series.
Yes.
What do you mean by hacks?
Hacks have got a bad name. Hacks have become sort of associated with breaking into things or destroying things, whereas hacks, another meaning for hacks is just participating in your hardware, participating in your software, taking stuff that you've bought and making the best out of it, not just taking what they gave you in the box and just being happy with that, but extending it.
Participating in your hardware. Yeah. Extending it. Now, all these hacks, Google approves these hacks, but not all of them are supported by Google. They're things that just people have discovered. In fact, some of them Google won't even explain how they work. Like this first one, doubling the word. For some reason, now, everybody knows Google. We don't have to explain the fundamentals of Google, but you go to a web search site and you type in a search term like Rael Dornfest or whatever, and you get some results. But you point out in the book that if you type the word twice, something else happens.
Yes, indeed. If you type in, for example,
we'll do Rael.
Good query.
You get the Raelian Revolution,
which I love.
Much to your chagrin. And
then
you get Rael's website, the #2 thing. Okay.
Whereas if you put in Rael, it actually shows up with different results.
It starts with the Renewable and Appropriate Energy Laboratory. Instead of that, in fact, the Raelian Revolution is now 3rd, and you're 4th. Why did typing it twice? What happens 3 times?
Sometimes it's different yet again. This time it isn't.
Same thing. Why is it that twice does that?
We have a theory that it's just, well, of course, Google didn't tell us. But
they won't say. They won't say.
But the theory is that if something occurs more than once in a page, say if you put Rael and it occurs once in a page versus Rael, which occurs twice in another page, that one will come up. Another possible explanation is that it's weighting Rael more than the other words, or if you had other words in the query.
So you wouldn't do this every time you search for something. No. But if you weren't getting the results you really wanted, you might try doubling the word.
Yeah, it's one of those tricks that you try when you're sort of at the end of your rope, where you're trying, hey, I've got these interesting results, how can I get maybe more and dig a little further without necessarily knowing what direction to go in?
This book is great because it does begin with the stuff, Boolean search terms, things that people are new to searching need to know. But you really go a little bit farther, and you get some clever hacks. For instance, social engineering your search.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So basically, if you were searching for certain things, people tend to do, I don't know, Iraq, for example, something in the news.
You're going to get the news. You're going to get actually get the CIA fact book, which is good, but then the rest is...
Or you'll get CNN at some point, and Iraqi Information Council and things like that. But if you wanted to hone things down a little bit more to say you're interested in just getting results from blogs.
Just from blogs?
From weblogs. Okay. There's no real way to say I want it just from a weblog.
You can't do Iraq and blogs. That's not going to work.
You could if somebody mentioned the word blogs on their page. But one way to do it is to look for things, many blogs have something like powered by
Blogger, for instance.
Blogger.
Or movable type.
Or movable type or whatever, at the bottom of their page. So if you search now, you tend to see things.
These are all Blogger.
They're all Blogger pages.
So in the way this is non-intuitive is you don't really care for you're not searching for powered by Blogger, but it is a way of narrowing that search down.
Indeed.
So think of terms that you could use that would appear only on the pages that you want.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the content that you want. Very good idea. Now Google, you can even go beyond that. Google does provide an API, a programming interface, but you can kind of get to Google without using its programmatic interface.
Yeah, in a section we call "Don't Try This at Home," just because it's against their acceptable use policy.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Okay.
But what they want to discourage is people spidering their site and automatedly hitting and pounding it and getting these scrapes. Whereas if you grab a page in your browser, you can save it to your local desktop and you can run a script on it. It's kind of a nice, gentle way of doing it. But you get to scrape if you want to look up something quickly.
Scraping is the term that people like you use for kind of getting information off a web page in a form you want, not through your browser.
Going through the HTML and saying, well, we know there's a bold tag here or an italics.
Well, give me an example.
So, for example, I will show you here.
We're going to scrape Google News here a little bit.
So if you go to Google News and you look at some of the stories, I, for example, did a query on Google Hacks on Google News. So these are these.
And this is about the book.
This is about the book. And these are just news sites that are mentioning the book. Now, this is not available through the API. But what you can do is you can actually save the file to your local desktop and Google Hacks.html. I think I may have already saved it there. Yeah, place. And then you can go ahead, and I have a Perl script which you can automatically run, or you can run whenever you wish. And basically, this just says run the Google News to CSV, comma-separated value.
Okay.
And input the HTML file was saved, and output it to a
So
CSV
you're processing the contents of the HTML file, and you're going to put it in a format that something like, let's say, Excel can look at, right?
Yes, if you look at Google Hacks CSV, there are your results.
That's just plain text, but this is comma separated.
Exactly.
Then
so
what do I do?
if you open up Excel, for example, you can say open Google Hacks CSV, and there are the results in Excel. So you can actually use that.
What would I do with that?
Well, if you were to do, there's another hack we have which tracks results over time. So you can see
could graph it.
Yeah, how popular Leo Laporte is over time, and you can
very
see
interesting.
the graph, of course, going up.
So this is a way of getting data from Google that is kind of going without using the Google API, going beyond what you might see, what the obvious thing.
Exactly.
One of the coolest things Google has, and we've recommended this before, is a spell checker built in. Let's switch over to the Windows machine. If you press it twice, there you go. He's already hacked our system. You can actually, according to the book, will allow you to interface Google to your Microsoft Word, so you can use the spell checker from Google in Word.
Exactly.
Show us how that
There's a
works.
company called Cape Science that did this, and it's a little thing you download and install. You click here, and whereas your dictionary wouldn't know anything about, say, it would know common misspellings, it wouldn't know that. Whoops, wrong
Type
keyboard.
on the Mac keyboard. I do that all the time. Yeah.
It wouldn't know that this is not how you spell Britney Spears.
I don't even know that.
So if you hit check
But
spelling,
Google knows it,
it will come back with
and it's going out, it's checking Google, and it actually finds that correct spelling of Britney Spears.
Whereas a traditional dictionary knows nothing about Britney Spears.
All the hacks we just showed you, the Perl hack, this hack, and a whole lot more, including API hacks, are in the book. And Google Share, which is a cool hack that Rail did on his own blog. Very fun. We got links to that and everything on our website. There's Google Hack. On how do you pronounce that? Reality Bytes?
Realty Bytes. My Realty.
My Realty. That's his site. And the book is available, of course, through our site at techtv.com. Rail, you got to come back. There's a lot more in here. We want to do more Google hacking. This is a must-have book. Already a big bestseller on Amazon. I think you might make it to #1 tonight.